Hello, this is John Costa, the editor of Citizen's Eye, and we're here at Phoenix Square, the Film and Digital Media Centre, start of Community Media Week, and I'm joined by two very important gentlemen now to Citizen's Eye. I've got Rob Parkinson, CEO of Action Homeless. How are you?
Very well, thank you, John.
Good. Thank you for joining us, and obviously Jonathan Cryer, the Fundraiser as well. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, John.
A couple of weeks ago now, the announcement came back from the big lottery that with all your efforts, we actually got £140,000 from the lottery. What sort of significance do you think that is at the moment, actually getting all of the money that we're actually put in for?
I think it's a very big, significant grant for Action Homeless, for the people that we're going to be helping with it, and also I think very important for that much money to be coming into work that we're doing in and around Leicester.
Now, Rob, we had supported you on a breakfast networking event last Friday, where lots of people from the sector came together for the second time, and there's an increase in rough sleepers and things like that. To have the ability to establish a news agency like Down Not Out, do you think that's a good time now to do that in order to get those messages out?
Yeah, it's a brilliant time to do it, because actually there are so many issues to do with homeless people in the city, whether it's rough sleeping, whether it's the number of people in hostels, whether it's repeat homelessness, and actually to have a voice on those issues, not just from us, but actually from the guys who matter, the people that are using the services, the people who are experiencing, is absolutely perfect, really important.
Now, Jonathan, from the fundraising point of view, obviously, your role is out there to not only raise funds for the organisation, but raise the profile of the organisation so that people consider supporting either as a volunteer or donating charity or, wheel money, that kind of stuff to organisations that work, with homelessness. Things like the Homeless and Poverty Week at the end of January, does that act as a focal point, do you think, for the sector?
I think it can do. It hasn't been a very strong focal point in and around Leicestershire for the last few years, but we've been picking up on it, started last year with our big sleep out event, and I think that we can do a lot around January, early February to help local groups, churches, other organisations and the general public realise that poverty and homelessness go together very often, and that they have a chance, away from some of the other sort of obvious times of year, to think about it.
Now, Rob, you go out and you speak to lots of community groups, and you'll do talks, and I know Jonathan does as well, to people about supporting Action Homeless and why they support it and stuff. Do you think the ability to be able to train 100 service users over the next 2 years, and to have a radio station and a magazine and things like that, and to make a documentary, will give you the ammunition, if you like, the human interest stories from people who are actually affected by homelessness to move forward in the sector?
Yeah, I think it will, but more importantly, it will give people who are affected by the issues the ammunition to help move forward society with just those kind of issues. I mean, you and me started talking about this as an idea at the Friends Meeting House about 2.5 years ago, and it's not just been you and me that have made it happen. It's 3 or 4 or 5 really committed guys and women who've been involved in our services and said, you know what, we need this kind of thing in Leicester. So it's giving them the ammunition to make a difference as much as it is us to kind of get a great story out of it.
Now, a lot of the service users I've come across, not only in the homelessness sector, but across all sectors, whether that's refugee and asylum seekers, or we were doing one today with ex-offenders. Ultimately, they're the ones that have experience of not only the services, but also what it's like. Do you think they're the ones really with the power, not only to help themselves, but also to educate maybe members of the public that are getting opinions about that sector from the mainstream media? Yeah,
generally speaking, that's absolutely right. Most of the rest of us are interested, potentially expert professionals who've got a view about things. Actually, unless we've been there ourselves, how difficult it is to feel really empowered to know about what the issues people are speaking. And this is the kind of project that will turn it on its head and give the people who use the services the voice in making decisions. And that is just the best kind of decision making you could possibly want.
Now, Jonathan, fundraising point of view, let's drill down into that a little bit. Obviously, we've done quite a few things over the last couple of years with students, like sleeping out at the clock tower and at the cricket club as well, and stuff like that. I mean, to a sort of a disinterested member of the public, if you like, if I, put a bit of money in an Action Homeless bin, or fill an envelope and stuff like that, or some of the starter packs that you have, for example, on the marketplace, can you tell us what happens to the money that I would give you?
Right. Well, I think the main thing that the Action Homeless is able to do with the money that people give us, as opposed to the money that we've earned through grants or contracts, is do that extra piece of work that helps somebody who's in a hostel professional move on into independent living. A very key piece of work is what we call tenancy support, and most of that we have to fund ourselves. And so money that you give us will not only give practical help to somebody who's actually moving, hopefully into their own home where they can stay, but it gives them access to the advice and support of what we call floating support officers, floating support professionals, whom they can go back to when they have a problem that might put them back into homelessness. It's keeping people in their homes once they've got there that's absolutely vital.
Now, final question to Rob. The great thing about being able to support Down Not Out, the news agency, which we can now formally establish and stuff, and move on with the Upwards and Onwards magazines you've got in house and sort of print it. It'd be fantastic if in 2 years' time you could walk down the high street in Leicester and have a choice between a Down Not Out magazine produced locally by service users and the Big Issue. But also you've got the reporters to report on issues like not only homelessness but also Action Trust. And can you tell us a little bit about Action Trust and why that's so interesting and being able to help people to move forward?
Well, Action Trust is all about giving jobs and training and employment to people who are moving out of hostile accommodation. And if there's one thing that's going to make the biggest possible difference to making sure that people don't get back into homelessness, it's some money in your back pocket, and it's a job, and it's a chance to change your life. That's what Action Trust is all about, and that's what we're trying to do. And the brilliant thing linking that back to Down Not Out is we've got a chance now to really sell that in Leicester. And I don't know about you, 140 grand was brilliant a couple of weeks ago. What I'm going to get a buzz out of now is actually really seeing that project take off and seeing it making a difference to people's lives. Let's forget about the 140 grand and let's make a massive difference. That's what it's all about. That's what we're going to get happy with in a few years' time.
Rob, Jonathan, thanks very much.